Work-life balance does not exist. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't. Why in the world are we spending as people 40 to 60, we'll call it 20 to 60 for those who are part-timers, hours per week doing something that we don't classify as part of our life? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I get the sentiment in some regards, but I think it's taken too far and it's warped. So I feel like because it's been so warped, we got to throw out the term, and I don't think we should use it anymore. I think there are two things that really get to the heart of what people are trying to navigate when they're talking about work-life balance. Well, we'll say three things. One, foundationally, is everything you do, whether in word or deed, should be glorifying to God, bar none. That's it. Full stop. So it doesn't matter if that is part of your profession, your money-making activity, whether that's part of your ministry in your church, whether that's a part of your family life or your engagements with friends. It doesn't matter. Every single thing, whether in word or in deed, should glorify God. That's it. End of story. So that's the underlying bedrock that we build a life on as a Christian. Then there's really two things that you got to think about. I think these might surprise you. First, aligning priorities. I think a lot of people, when they're talking about work-life balance, are really talking about, are my priorities misaligned? Have I over-indexed? Have I overcompensated for one priority over a second priority? And that's an important question to ask, but oftentimes people don't even spend the time to think about what their priorities really even are and what the purpose behind that priority is. For me, my priority in my work in this phase of my career is to develop a business, to build a holding company and a set of businesses that provide opportunity for people to build Christ's kingdom while pursuing godly ambition and seeing that godly ambition through. What does that look like tactically? The company's called Heritage Rose. We're working on a logo. Maybe it'll be here. I can put it right here for you. And Heritage Rose will buy businesses. We're really focused right now on looking at trades businesses or home services. So think about HVAC, electrical, siding, windows and doors, carpentry, bathroom remodeling, all those sorts of in-the-home residential services, exterior, interior, landscape, hardscape, all those things. So we're going to be looking at buying those types of businesses, partnering with people who are going to operate those businesses. We're calling them operators, the same thing as like a CEO or a general manager of the business. Build a solid leadership team around that business and hold that business for the long term. Grow at a slow and steady pace that doesn't get us out over our skis, but consistently builds on a solid foundation in that business. So that's the goal. That's what we're doing in Heritage Rose. And so that's my priority right now. That is deeply integrated and a part of my life as a Christian. So I'm not looking to separate out and split my work and life. That's not how it works. That's not how it's going to go. A couple other priorities that I have that honestly take way higher priority over my work priority. I mean, the Great Commission is a big part of what I'm trying to infiltrate and have be a core component. Love God, love others, make disciples. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to show people the light of Christ and help them see what a life as a Christian can do for them. We are meant to be in dynamic relationship with God, and we can try to fill money, prestige, success, material things, love from others into that hole, but there will be no filling. There will be no satisfaction without a relationship with God. So that's another priority that I have. So we had kind of my work priority. We had my, that's a lower priority, the Great Commission of making disciples of all nations. And then we have the priority within my family. It's another priority that I have. I have a responsibility, a duty, and the privilege of being a husband to my beautiful wife and a father to our 3 children. And that is a higher priority for me than my work priority. I'm not trying to balance my work and that. Those things are a higher priority. So I'm not going to try and balance anything. Then there is friends. I think that is a often overlooked priority, specifically within our Western American culture. For people who are established, friends often take a back seat, way back seat. And I think that because I take this perspective and approach to my work life that is integrated and not afraid of having friends and family in the fold, oftentimes I get to be building my friendships in my work life, which has been great. I've been really enjoyed that. And I also integrate that with my family life and in my church life. So those are not comprehensive, but those are some of the priorities. There's also health and wellness. I am very focused on ensuring that my health is up to snuff, that I'm maintaining health. That's workout routines, that's diet, that's visiting doctors and other practitioners, health practitioners, that's rolling jujitsu. Those are some of the things that are my priorities in my life. Now, one of the things I talked about with this guy, at coffee the other day that I talked about at the top, and what brought this to mind was you look at aligning these priorities and ensuring these priorities are not misaligned or over-indexed onto something that you don't want to be a top priority is a top priority based off your actions. You want to zoom out. So one of the things that I've really seen for myself is there's seasons. There's seasons on how you focus your priorities. So for instance, when we didn't have any kids, I could spend a lot more time, energy, money, focus on building my original business, which was SAS Inc. or R Media. I've talked about it on here a bit. So in the early days, of my marriage, I was able to focus and spend a lot more time on that. I think I neglected my top priority, which was the Great Commission. I think I neglected my friend priorities. And I think that season was a little bit out of whack as far as maintaining the priorities. And some people would call that balance, and I understand why. But again, we just got to get out of that language because it's been warped into something that's not right. So there's seasons. There's a seasonality to your priorities and which priorities take higher precedent over others. And that's the second point, is the seasonality. And so, there's seasons for, like, as a young person getting out of college for the first time, let's say, looking to get their first job and establish themselves in the professional setting. If you're going into a hedge fund, you're going to be working 120 hours a week. You're going to be over-indexed on your work priority to establish your career. I think the big thing is that you're making a conscious choice about how you're aligning your priorities, making that conscious choice about it, and then reviewing that priority at a regular cadence, making sure that what you're seeing happen in your life is aligned with what you want your priorities to be. And if the Lord has called you to establish a career in a hedge fund, then it's going to look like you don't have any work-life balance. What are we going to say? That no, you're doing it wrong, you need better work-life balance? No, if the Lord has called you to that career choice and you're being diligent to the call and establishing yourself, knock yourself out. I think that if that is rooted in fear, rooted in insecurity, that choice being rooted in fear or insecurity, or chasing after something that you're hoping to satisfy, whether that's money, prestige, or promotion, that's where you get out of whack. So what's more important is the whole work-life balance discussion. It's talking about a symptom. It's like somebody has diabetes and they've got a huge sore on their foot. And the debate is what type of bandage we're going to put on the sore. That's what it's like debating about work-life balance. It's a symptom. The reality is, as a diabetes patient, we got to talk about diet. We got to talk about insulin. We got to talk about sugars. We got to talk about how to get you into a controlled state of your diabetes. Sure, we definitely need to think about and worry about this sore on your foot so we don't have to amputate the foot. But don't make that the thing that you're only focused on. There's a heart issue. Why are you focused or over-indexing on one area of your life over another? And the goal is not just to try to rebalance. The goal is to look at your heart, to go to the Lord in prayer, and to come to an understanding of what your priorities should be in this season of life, and to have the freedom to make those changes and to over-index on one priority over another. March 22nd, when we had my first girl, on March 23rd, if I was working a 10-hour day, people would be like, oh, that's not good, right? You're out of whack. And you're right. And for me, there was a season where decision-making as to my priorities was out of whack. When I'm called to show up for my family in that season, there's other priorities take a back seat. And if your kid gets sick and needs to go to the hospital, those are times where we're okay, right? With having, an over-index on well, what about if it's a birthday? Okay, yeah, definitely over-index on family. What about if it's a tea party at their school? Well, if we have a really urgent work priority, maybe that's something that needs to take a back seat. Well, for you and I, that's a different call. I can't tell you that you're out of whack in your work-life balance because you made a different call than I did. It's something that's done conviction, and that's make the decision blindly. You should definitely have the input of your spouse or of your friends or of your church to help you navigate what your priorities should be. Be a good steward of your time and what the Lord's called you to do in this season. That's what I got for you.